Big surprise! We have another war criminal on our hands, everybody. Hey there, YouTube. Bed Bath & Bongs here. Thank you so much for joining me. So we're going to be talking a little politics, you know, the Bed Bath & Bong standard. We're going to be talking about quite a few different things. We're going to be talking about how Biden, as predicted, bowed down to the neoliberal, neoconservative war power structure, and broke international law by bombing Syria. Big surprise! We have another war criminal on our hands, everybody. Ding, ding, ding. I mean, he was pretty much a war criminal the minute he took office and didn't order removal of U.S. troops from Iraq and Afghanistan. But this more or less cements the illegality of the presidency of the United States. Even our laws. You're supposed to have congressional approval before just taking matters into your own hands. The only time the presidency has the right to instigate war like that is when it is literally in self-defense, in defense of the nation. Disgusting. And then you remember when all of the liberals were criticizing Donald Trump and ICE for having child migrant camps, and how dare he have children in cages? Well, a lot of people stated that Obama did the same thing. As a matter of fact, he started a lot of these programs, which is true. As a matter of fact, Obama probably caged more children than Donald Trump, which isn't hard because he was president for twice as long. But Biden has already opened a new facility for putting kids in cages. So that's what we got, Dems. Another war hawk, kid caging Republican. Good job. We could have had fucking Bernie. So I'm going to go ahead and take the dab of the video here. I'm actually going to take quite a few dabs. I'm going to smoke a little bit. My high is kind of worn off, so I'm going to get my high back going again. And we're going to watch some videos on both Biden's bombing of Syria and his caging of children. And then after that, we're going to be moving on to the topic of CPAC, the rapper Pharaoh, and his enlightened views on the Jewish peoples. The golden Donald Trump statue, which was beautiful. And then, of course, Donald Trump's speech, which I have yet to watch. It's going to be rather fresh for me in this video, watching this. I haven't even seen any highlights yet, so fuck yeah.
Now we're watching some breaking news tonight. Joe Biden has made his first big military move, launching airstrikes against a target in Syria. The Pentagon is calling it retaliation for an attack on U.S. personnel in Iraq earlier this month.
We're confident in the target that we went after. We know what we hit. And we're confident that that target was being used by the same Shia militia that conducted the strikes.
Okay, so let's bring in Paul in Washington. Paul, can you put this in some context for us?
Hey, Adrian, look, this attack was approved by Joe Biden, full stop. That's a big deal unto itself. Ostensibly, it's retaliation for the rocket attack you mentioned, but it would certainly seem as if an underlying factor is that the U.S. wants to signal to Iran that if you somehow think Joe Biden is less likely to be aggressive than his predecessor when it comes to Iran, think again. Biden is 1 month into his presidency, and now here we are. It's described as a proportioned military response, a scaled strike, but it's an attack nonetheless.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying about the messaging there, the intended messaging, but what kind of fallout could there be from this?
Yeah, well, hard to say whether Iran will respond, for example, but for Biden, this complicates things in other ways on a couple of fronts. He's made clear he wants to re-engage with Iran post-Trump and reopen that nuclear deal with Iran that was ended by Trump. A complicated and tenuous notion to begin with. This doesn't make that any easier. And as well, the Biden administration has meanwhile made clear it increasingly sees global challenges coming out of China as some.
And then with this drone strike, I just think it's amazing how all the media is just sucking Biden off for this. I mean, I was hoping that we were going to get back into the Iran deal and maybe avoid future war with Iran and maybe de-escalate things. But unfortunately, it seems Biden, of course, is gonna do the obvious thing that seems to happen with every president that we elect, no matter if they're anti-war during the campaign or not. They still continue the wars, i.e. Obama. This Biden presidency is starting to feel a lot like an Obama presidency, which isn't great. It's not exactly what I wanted. And then, of course, the defense secretary, Austin, who everyone knows has huge shares in these defense companies, is probably just raking in the dough from stuff like this. He shouldn't even have the job. It's a conflict of interest. And just everyone is just making it sound like it's just a nice little strike, contained. Wait till we hear about the 8 kids that we killed. Fucking disgraceful. And then speaking of potentially killing kids, of course, Biden is just doing the Obama version of caging kids, which everyone, just painted Trump as the Mexican Hitler, like he was just the ultimate Adolf, and he just hated Mexican children, which I mean he probably does, but you can't criticize someone that intensely when Obama started a lot of these programs. He was a very pro-ICE president. And then Biden is continuing these policies. Now, the excuse that the press secretary uses is COVID and the fact that they're trying to reunite them with families. Which, if that turns out to be true and that happens in a timely manner and none of these kids die from horrible care, then maybe, we'll be eating our words. I certainly hope that happens. But even a lot of other proclamations Biden has been making about COVID is 100 million vaccines out in 100 days. I don't see it coming true, at least not legitimately, not honestly, without them trying to fudge up the numbers a little bit. Feel like that's what this might be. It's just another presidency where the Democrat acts like a Republican and then goes halfway in on anything that can be considered a left-wing initiative. So those of you who want a $15 minimum wage, those of you who want Medicare for all, I think you're fucked. At least not for the next little while. But we'll see. Maybe we'll move them left.